Emotional pain can be a real challenge in life. How does it affect you in your life? What does it keep you from doing and accomplishing? Well, today we're going to talk about how to overcome emotional pain. There are two different kinds of pain. There is physical pain, and we all know what that is. And then there is emotional pain. Physical pain comes or has to do with the body and is often connected with illness or accidents or pushing ourselves to the point that it stresses our muscles or ligaments or other parts of our body. We also can have physical pain that comes from different illnesses that people may experience. And there can be chronic physical pain, and there can be more of acute pain that again comes from an accident, an injury, or a specific situation. Emotional pain is a little bit different. Think about that for a minute. What is emotional pain and where does it come from? So let's just talk about emotions for a minute. Where do emotions come from? Oftentimes, we think or have this belief that emotions are caused by other people or by circumstances or by situations. But the truth is that emotions come from our thoughts. If you want to know more about that, you can find more information on some of the other videos that we've done where we talk specifically about emotions. But if you think about it, emotions, there's an event or a circumstance that we experience. That's why several people can experience the same event or the same situation and yet come away with different emotions or different feelings. So our thoughts create our emotion. And then the other thing to understand is our subconscious thoughts are thoughts that we have created over time. So we've been conditioned to have those thoughts. So either way, whether we're aware of it or whether we're on autopilot, it's our thoughts about the situation that is creating the emotion. So if you are experiencing emotional pain, then the cause of that pain is your thoughts. And if you have control over your thoughts, then you can ask the question of, why do I want to think the thoughts that I'm thinking and therefore experience the emotion that I'm experiencing? So why would I want to experience emotional pain? Now we have to go back to and remember that everything we do for a reason, or we wouldn't do it. And so there's a consequence or there's an outcome or a payoff for everything that we do. So why would you or anyone choose to experience emotional pain? When we think about it on the surface, it doesn't make much sense, right? Nobody would want to experience any emotional pain, and yet we do it all of the time. So some examples of emotional pain would be hurt, sadness, disappointment, any of those kind of negative emotions that cause us some feeling of discomfort. We need to look at two things here. First of all, what is our belief about pain, and then what is the purpose that it is serving us in our life, or what is the function of that emotional pain. And again, when you first think about it, you may still think and believe that there's no way that I would choose to feel this emotional pain that I'm feeling. It's this circumstance or event that's creating it. But if you think about it with a conscious mind, you know that it is possible to change your thoughts about that event or circumstance or situation. So if I'm unwilling to change my thoughts, then I want to look at, why do I want to hang on to that belief? And it may be a belief that, this event that happened shouldn't have happened. And that may be true. Maybe that event should not have happened, but it did. And so do I want to give my control away to that event, or do I want to take control of my life and to realize I can change that thought or that belief? I could try to find the positive in that event, Or I could focus on and recognize that whatever that situation is that happened, it's outside of my control. There's nothing that I can do about that. And then change my focus to what do I have control over and focus on that. I have a belief about pain, that pain is something to avoid. Pain is something that we should not experience, that it is not part of what our life should be. And as a result, I have allowed pain to stop me from moving forward with decisions and choices that I have made in my life. Now that has occurred in my life in physical ways, so I feel physical pain, and I've allowed that to stop me from moving forward with doing physical things. But I've also allowed it to stop me in emotional ways. So when I feel pain, oftentimes then I have fear that's linked to pain. And so now I'm fearful that things are not going to work out the way that I want them to, that they may turn out badly. And so my response then to pain and to fear is to stop and to not push through. Well, what if my belief about pain is incorrect? What if pain really is just part of life, and pain is part of the process of what we need to go through in order to become the person that we need to become, in order to have the outcomes in life that we want, in order to have the relationship with ourselves that we want, in order to have the relationships with others that we want, in order to accomplish the goals and the dreams that we have in our life. Maybe we need to embrace the pain. We need to push through the pain. So I would encourage you to look at your beliefs that are connected to specifically emotional pain in your life. See if you can identify what are your beliefs and why do you choose to feel emotional pain at times in your life, and then what is the consequence or the outcome of when you give in to that emotional pain. See if you can identify some errors in those beliefs, and then be willing to let go of those false beliefs, be willing to be vulnerable and to risk a little bit and to push through that emotional pain and see what you experience on the other side of that pain. Because I believe now that many of the things that we want in our life are on the other side of pain. They're on the other side of fear. And until we're willing to push through and to even embrace that pain, then we limit ourselves and we limit the joy, the happiness, the fullness that we can experience in our lives. So my challenge to you, identify those false beliefs, be willing to push through that emotional pain and experience the life that you love, the life of your dreams. Thanks for watching today. Comment below if you have questions or if you have experienced situations with emotional pain that you found to be helpful or beneficial as you've pushed through it, or if you're continuing to struggle with things, go ahead and put those questions down below. Subscribe to our channel, visit our website at principlebasedliving.com, and if you're watching this on LinkedIn, be sure and follow me here.